What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ajax Reviews. Today we review Vacancy 2, the first cut. Directed by Eric Bross, three young people check into the Meadow View Inn for a night's rest, fully unaware of the inn's sick-minded employees and their nefarious intentions. Vacancy 2. This one, again, was a blind buy. I liked Vacancy 1, so why the fuck not? So I went out and I bought this when it came out. It was a direct-to-video sequel, and I was like, well, what's the worst that could happen? So, way back in the day, I watched it, but I didn't remember, what I thought of it. This has been sitting on my shelf for, since 2008. I watched it once. And I felt, you know what, it's time to do this again. Since we just reviewed Vacancy, let's put Vacancy 2 on, back to back, and see what happens. Well, here's my review of that one.
Evening. Hey, what's going on, man? Listen, we're on our way down to Danville, and I was just wondering if you had, a room where we could rest up a bit, maybe, a hourly deal or something?
Sorry. It's nightly rates only.
Now, normally, when a big budget movie gets an immediate sequel or prequel, it means one of a few things. Either A, they feel like they can catch lightning in a bottle twice. B, they feel that they can start a franchise. Or C, they're going for a quick cash grab because the first one was popular, this is a piece of shit. It's one of those three. In this case, it was the fucking latter. Now, story-wise, they did a decent job of explaining how everything got started. Where they failed is that they didn't reintroduce us to any of the original killers or bad guys, except Smith, who happened to be one of the killers in the original that had the least amount of screen time. And now they expect us to believe that he is the mastermind of this whole fucking thing. It made no sense. Why that guy? Ethan Embry, fuck, dude. He couldn't cost that much. Get him. I mean, what would have really worked, what I would really like to have seen, is that this being Mason's origin story. Mason, who was the manager in the original. I would have loved to have seen this be his origin story. Because that was an interesting fucking character. And you could have done a lot of cool shit with that. Now, the motel is a different motel than in the first movie. And apparently now all of this shit was set up by Smith. Everything that happens in the original. Oh my god. Fuck. You guys know how to fuck up a movie, don't you? I mean, I think this was a poor attempt at a quick cash grab. Now, it's not one of the worst direct-to-video sequel/prequels that I've ever seen. But it really just served no fucking purpose. We could have gone the rest of our lives without this movie ever being fucking made. This movie had no tension, and it didn't bring anything to the table that would explain anything or make the first movie better, which is the fucking job of a prequel. Now it's time to talk about some of the things in this movie that I liked. I mean, it had more kills than the first one. Another thing that I kind of liked was that the final girl was kind of a badass, but you see that coming from the beginning of the movie, talking about how her dad's a hunter and how her dad taught her to hunt and use a gun and all this shit. It's one of those things you just saw coming a mile away. So, I mean, there was really no surprise. And the last thing that I liked, Tanner was funny. That's about it. Now let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like. The camera was too shaky. Way too fucking shaky. That's not how you create tension. You can create tension using the camera, but it doesn't have to shake all the goddamn time. During a running scene and things are really, really high energy, yeah, fucking shake the camera. But, during a fucking scene where the camera's back a ways and shit's going on over here, you don't need to shake it. What the fuck is the point? Another thing that I didn't really like was Gordon. Not only was he a direct fucking ripoff of Mason from the first movie, down to the jacket and the pedo mustache, but he was just fucking terrible. And the fact that he was trying to be Norman Bates, that was even worse. And the other thing that I really didn't like was that the only returning character was Smith. And I didn't like him in the original, and he fucking sucked in this one. So, in conclusion, would I recommend this movie? It's kind of a tough question. Because, I mean, by now you guys know how I feel about having a complete story or a complete collection. So, if you're wondering for collection reasons if you should get it, then yeah. But if you're just a fan of horror movies and you really like the first one and you're curious to see what the other one is about, just fucking leave it at the door, man. You don't need this. It brings nothing to the story. It's a waste of your time. So with that being said, guys, I have to give this movie a 2.5 out of 5. And that's going to do it for me for today, guys. So remember, until next time, stay smart, stay clean, keep the dream. Don't let the man get you down, because if he does, he may bend you over, then fuck up a perfectly good story and ruin a possible franchise. Yeah, he did.